learned from the lesson. Live in the hills, but I still get a spread. Started with a little, but I still reinvest it. Fear how I feel, then you feel like a blessing. I just want the lesson, I just want protection. I'm up and I'm down, but they sound like progression. Farmer never plans if he waits for perfection. Finger to the down, hold it down, we gon' get it.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I got your Watchlist coming in July 17, 2020, and Netflix stock has crashed on earnings. I'm being a little bit dramatic. They fell just within expectations for the options or what they were pricing in, $45, but the initial reaction was big. It was kind of what we were expecting with a big move, but not quite. We will go over why and what happened with Netflix, but it affected the market after hours. It affected some stocks. Today was relatively nothing. It felt like nothing was happening, but in the grand scope of things, this was a very, very normal earnings mode. So earnings season is on, ladies and gentlemen. So we have a lot to go over. Tomorrow is going to be exciting because of Netflix and what it could affect. It's going to give us a lot of information to move forward with this earnings. So I hope you guys are ready. I hope you are there in the morning tomorrow. There is going to be some continuation plays. I mean, I don't want to hype it up too much. It is Bring a Friend to Cult Day. So hopefully you do bring a friend and God bless you. But let us not delay. You guys know what you need to do. Drop your thumbs up on the video. Make sure you're subscribed. And if you don't know, we are live Monday through Friday, 30 minutes before open. It's the first link in the description and it is pinned in the comments. We better see you there in the morning. It's free $99. It costs you nothing to join. YouTube.com/thestockmarket. You can post the plays, see the plays, and watch the watch list come to life. And Fridays get crazy. So if everything is boring and you just want to smile, I don't know, maybe things are bad. Maybe you just want to smile. You will smile tomorrow. I promise you that, okay? Now I have a lot of pressure, so I don't know. Do what you want. But do not forget the most important thing you need to do. Post or watch this below. Let us know what you're looking at. Got any plays, comments, remixes, anything. Post them below and source that info. Shout out to Colt, baby. But right off the bat, like we said, earnings mode is back on. This whole move today was natural. The virus can surprise. Throughout the day, there was a rumor. I even put it out on the stream alerts because it was the only thing that really moved the market, and it made sense because of the scope. It's interesting where it came from, but a rumor started circulating that Texas might go back to closing, and now last place that people were expecting was Texas to close back down. So maybe Florida or New York, but that caused some reaction. Then there was clarification that they said they're not going to reclose. So we might see some of those announcements, and it showed us that, okay, the market will react to some of this stuff, but overall, you're going to need earnings to even drive home a move. And you even see there was a reaction after hours. This is what we talked about, how after some of these companies starts to report, it gives us a lot of info, and we even got some from Netflix. They killed it this quarter, but they guided down even beyond expectations for Q3. So a lot of analysts have ideas. People are factoring in recovery, this and that, but now the real results, and then now we're hearing stuff from the company. Are we going to get another wave of cuts and guidance slashes when that was what happened last time and we expected it? So how will analysts in the markets respond? So that brings us to the next key here. Tomorrow is going to be important for this reason. You know, the key will be interpreting the response of all of the earnings that we saw, mainly Netflix considering its run, and we've seen with the NASDAQ stocks. And again, they have been a virus winner in the midst of all this. You know, they're up like 60% on the year. So we want to see how they respond, what the premiums tell us. Again, we'll even talk about one of the Amazon plays that we made, and that will even highlight that. But key tomorrow is seeing how the market takes it. How do they respond? How do we set up into the next set of earnings in the bigger companies? And what does this change expectation-wise? Watch upgrades and downgrades. I can't say this enough. This will be important throughout the earnings season. It's not only just the move the companies make, but then the following reaction of Wall Street and the investment community, analysts, all that. So continuations are very, very key. So don't forget that. But I want to look to set up for those and watch the other earnings tomorrow, and that will be important. And then finally, as far as everything else for today, even coming into next week, I think tomorrow has the potential to be crazy, or at the very least, to see one of the days where the market doesn't really do anything, but individual names could move, or premium might go wild. You'd be surprised. Even if stocks don't do anything, premium can change simply because of the Netflix report, and then again, the response to Netflix as well. But moving forward, even stuff that came up today, again, that virus stuff will have an effect. It will be important. It will come up a few times, but now at the same time, Politics is back. This whole stimulus issue, we heard some of this after hours. Trump went live, but these issues are coming back. The unemployment bonuses are going to expire, and it seems like they're actually going to fight this time. So remember, last time we were in the midst of this, we didn't know much. Now we're saying we're going to have a vaccine by the end of the year. People feel a lot more comfortable. You want to fight about masks and no masks. Okay, it's a different situation. So now I think politically, I don't even think this is, you can kind of even tell so far, there's going to be a little bit of a scuffle here because now Trump wants a payroll tax. He's pretty much saying he's not going to advocate or support a bill or for more stimulus without a payroll tax. And then they want it. It's very, very surreal, honestly, because it's so one side wants you to stay home, one side wants you to go to work. And it's wild that this is what they're going to fight about. So I don't know wherever you stand. I'm not making a stance on it. But the idea is this is literally what they're discussing. They want to do, instead of an employment bonus or an unemployment bonus, that extra $600 that's going to expire, for Trump to get on board, he wants them to switch that to a back to work bonus. And then they want to change some of the income restrictions for who qualifies, whether it's $40,000 or $70,000. And then they ultimately want that payroll tax. So that stuff is going to have an effect. And I'm bringing this up because this will either take an effect prior to earnings or after some of the big ones, because we heard some of this stuff last week. Again, end of the month is when this stuff kind of is going to kick off. So I wouldn't be surprised to see this come up in a week or two, but that is going to fall in line around some of the bigger earnings or the continuations following some of the bigger companies. So I hope you guys are ready for that. That will be excited. Even before we get into anything, the final point is Netflix. And we talked about this a lot. We're going to look at this for a play. Their earnings, they beat. I believe they missed on EPS, but beat on revenue. And this highlighted something big. The two parts were, one, they guided down for Q3 by 50%. So Wall Street liked the numbers. They killed the expectations. They have been growing. COVID did benefit them in very, very weird ways. One is the amount of subscribers, but now the problem is for Q3, they're saying, well, as people recover to COVID, Netflix is expecting that paid additions will drop. So everybody on Wall Street was expecting 5 million new users next quarter, and they guided down 50%. Now, Netflix has sandbagged before, so they could just cut it earlier, but we need to start to see. I don't know if Wall Street was expecting 2 sandbag quarters in a row, because some people considered everybody's guidance cut, after a certain point, it didn't negatively affect some of these companies. So that is the first part, but now I also have another thesis for you. This is what happens when the markets get a little interesting, but one big aspect of Netflix's earnings this quarter, even last quarter, they have positive cash flow. They were never running positive cash flow. So now a lot of these companies have positive cash flow because they can't spend money. So Netflix literally was not able to record as many movies and blow billions of dollars. So think about that, and kind of even think about some of the move we've had up with a lot of these stocks. Although some of these companies have taken huge hits, some of them have saved a ton of money by simply not being able to spend, just like the average citizen or some of you guys. So that is the important part. Again, how analysts take this is going to be important. This is going to be a main play tomorrow, so we'll talk about that. We have a lot of things to, but that is pretty much it. So let us get into the plays. So right off the bat, the first play that I made today, I added to it, it was the Amazon, and I did feel weird about it, but this is what I'm talking about with Netflix earnings, everything. We will see tomorrow if it was really a good move, because now the last 2 days, if you guys have been watching these Amazon puts, we grabbed a few different sets. So where does it start? We got this August one, 760 I spent. So I'm down like 50%. It dropped, and here it is. So you can see the play. As a 2100 puts down to 5 or 430. This is the one that I grabbed today. I grabbed it at 280, but you can see even with the spreads and everything, it's a little far out. These are next week. So I did end up, I spent 280 here and another 200 here. I spent like $400 or $500 on weekly. So a little bit risky. Again, it's next week, but it's a little closer to the money, but still far out the money, but it doesn't really give us enough time. But hopefully that August will. But this is what I'm saying now. The last 2 or 3 days, we saw these puts drop in value. And again, this is when we got them, when Netflix started to drop. Remember, these puts went crazy. We got these at $1.78. It went up to like $5-6, dropped, came right back up to like $400. They were doing well. And then last few days, even as Amazon dropped, they lost value. So this is why I said I want one, because I'm like, well, even though we were wrong on it, it's starting to turn in my favor. So I grabbed this 25.10 one. I liked it. I want to see what's going to happen with it. But now the fact that Netflix did bad, if people's expectations get a little bit more worried, the fact that Netflix missed Q3 estimates, and then we're going to see how analysts respond to that, that might change people's demand for Amazon puts tomorrow. So I'm hoping that's going to be a good decision, but that was the first play that I made. The next play, we have these. We grabbed these today. We got Netflix puts. We'll go over those specific plays, but they're going to be up tomorrow. Again, I don't want to get too excited, but I'm going to look for the continuation. So after a stock reports, it makes a move again after all of the data, and as it digests, it will continue on from the earnings move. So not only do the stocks move big on the earnings report, but usually in the coming weeks or so, or really that immediate week or two, sometimes there's a delay. But if there's a big move tomorrow, I'm going to look for the continuation. If it doesn't make a big move tomorrow, so if it kind of just stays in the range that it opens at, then I'm going to look to play it on Monday. So if it moves big at open, I'm going to be playing this tomorrow either on a daily, or I'm going to set up for one with next week. Usually the ones next week out you could get really good deals on. So I'm going to be looking at next week calls or even August. They're not necessarily calls, but pretty much going to play the direction based on the first hour and let it continue from there. So if this ultimately is a negative report for Netflix, you see it drops, the market takes it, goes up a little bit, but then it drops another $30, $40 tomorrow, and then, or even bigger. And then people are like, oh, they don't like it, more downgrades. And then coming Monday, it keeps continuing downwards. That is a continued response from the earnings. You could get some really, really nice plays, and the stocks can move a lot. So that will be the second play I'm looking at. And then finally, two things. One, Shopify. Given the really any company, I think Netflix, we have to see it, and we have to see if other companies report and confirm what we saw. But now, if it's reasonable to expect these companies that were supposed to be winners in Q2 are going to really surprise analysts and cut back their estimates because of potential slowing or returning to normal because of the virus, a lot of these growth stocks could get hit. So I'm going to be looking at like Roku and some of those, but Shopify, that would be one of those. Remember, they profited immensely off of e-commerce. So they're probably going to kill this quarter, but if their future estimates come in whack, they might be liable for a Grim Reaper. I'm going to be looking for that. So watch them. I'm going to be seeing that again. The premiums are expensive, but I was only looking at calls, so we'll see the puts. And then finally, Disney, again, given Netflix, I think it's going to be the same situation that I just outlined for Shopify and even what we saw at Netflix, but I think Disney might do a little bit worse, so I'm switching sides here. Again, the calls I think have a little bit of value. Remember, we trimmed already these positions right here. Remember, I had 100 of these. I trimmed them. Still got a small gain. Again, hopefully there's bullishness, but I don't know if Netflix will clap it. I'm probably going to exit out of these, or I might keep it because it's a large amount, and that could justify me getting a big put position. But I feel like Disney's going to be a little bit more vulnerable now after that Netflix report because they cut the dividend, the closings now. So I think the market might very well be pricing in good Disney Plus growth, even though I was saying they might not. But if they I think their Q3 estimates might be the dagger. So it could really be Disney also as well too. So I'm going to keep an eye out for them, but we will see. So I need to finish structuring and building that full Disney play. Pretty much I'm not done. I thought I was only going to go calls, but now as you see earnings comes around, it gives us more information and we could set up a play. So watch those. As far as everything else, we got to play on Twitter. I think I got 50 or something. How many did I get? Yeah, I got 50 of these $19 puts at 11 cents. Again, I told you guys the reasoning why, and I kind of was operating on the philosophy, act slow. When they act fast, you act slow. When they act slow, you act fast. Because I don't know, I feel like there's still more info. The FBI got involved with that, but again, Twitter, I've never really liked them, so I'm really biased on there. And again, I had that old September position. I used that as a gauge. They didn't go up in the morning, so that's why I like this play. I got this within 30 minutes of the market, and this is what I said I was going to do. I used the old graveyard play that I had, and I noticed they were barely up, even though Twitter really gapped down in the morning, and then it started to come up and was struggling. But I was like, well, those puts are really, really cheap then. So, or they're not moving. They got a decent amount of time. So I got closer to the money for cheaper than I spent the first time. I was with it. So there was that play. Watch Facebook again. I was looking at them. They reacted to the Netflix. Watch again. All of the FANG is going to be important. I think Microsoft, they outpaced heavily today. Don't want to say they're looking weaker, but out of a lot of those companies that I got the puts on, their puts are the ones holding up premium, which is a little bit weird. So they have my interest. I'd keep an eye on them. Watch Shopify. I really, really like. I mean, I wish I got some of the puts earlier here, but they have some of the same features that Netflix would have. So keep that in mind. Then Zoom falls in that category, but I don't know how they've been performing. Yeah, that could be a good one as well, too. So I'm going to watch them, but it's been very hard to bet against Zoom, so be careful because they have been really the fan favorite and all this. Watch Apple as far as BOXL and even Vaxart. I made moves on them. I know we've been talking about them. Really, this thing, Boxel shot up in the morning, and I was like, wow, that's good, but everybody kept talking about it. And then again, you put this thing on Twitter. I explained how sketchy it was and how I felt towards it. So I really wasn't tempted to hold it too long here. So I held out in the morning, but I sold out 600 shares at 367. Remember, we bought 1,000 at 206. So I spent $2,000 yesterday, got back 2,200 for 600 shares. I'm holding these 300 shares, and I'm going to hold these till September 3rd. So that's when they're going to be doing some voting and where dilutive measures may come into place. So that's going to kind of be my reevaluation point. Otherwise, I'm going to swing this. We got a profit. There's no way we could lose any real money except for pure profit. This is $1,480 pure profit. There you go. So I did the same exact thing with Vaxart. I've been holding that. I had a bigger position, and I was able to get 200 free shares. Same exact logic. We just swung this for a little bit longer. Bought 500 shares there at $4,600. Sold 300 today at $4,800. Got 200 net profit, and then I have 200 shares for free. And we're going to just ride this till they get the vaccine or they don't. The idea is, a lot of these 3,000 here, 1,000 there. If some of these stocks, again, even like Boxel, even if it's not a scam and is a good education play, we'll get to hold that throughout. And $1,000 shares that don't expire. A lot of these companies have gone 10x, so it could do a lot of damage still. But watch all the medicine companies again. Just the fact that some of these even held up today, the fact even Vaxart held up, I would take positive note of that. Even Myrna, again, I'm still in this, but usually you've seen this sell-off, and then they would kind of just sell off instantly. So you had insider sales. This is, again, look at the volume to a lot of these companies. It's looking it's playing out a little bit different. And I will say that vaccine timelines have moved up to some sources like Fauci, but watch them and don't forget about this. CODX, I forgot, we're still holding them, but remember, they're still in the mix, and that's what I'm saying. Some of these have held up. It's interesting, but watch all those. Finally, watch TLT. The 30-year mortgage dropped today. A lot of people talked about that, but there's movements. We talked a little bit about the theory earlier today. And watch them. And then finally, another one. Just watch Boeing. Again, we have our strangles. We have like $400 or $500 or $300 both ways. They have my attention. Again, they've been outpacing heavily or leading heavily the last few days. Keep an eye on them. I hope you guys are ready. Welcome to earnings. But that is your watch list, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure you're healthy, ready to go. Make sure you post your watch list. Make sure we see you there in the morning. I need the armor on. I need the helmet shining. I need you to learn and take value in handling it, baby. He won't give you more than you can handle. So if you want a lot of stuff, get ready to handle a lot of stuff, baby. Get in the game. Balance the budget. This is earnings, and this is a historical moment. Don't get caught sleeping. Don't get caught gambling. Think about the future just a little bit, baby. But the code loves you. I love you. I'm going to see you in the morning. Let's go.